Hi folks, well, now today we're talking about it is steroids and baseball and and two newspapers, this is between the two newspapers, between the New York Post and the New York Times, and the protection of certain baseball players from one particular nation to have protectionism, to protect these people to falsely accused for steroid use. I'm wearing a New York Yankees hat. Well, I just live here in Miami, Florida, but yeah, even though born in New Jersey, but after that I wear the Yankees hat because it is the team that I think that I have beloved, and then all the bashing that they did to the New York Yankees. That means I disagree with what they will say. I heard of the doctor. Yeah, a doctor in Florida right here was, I think it was Bosch, was arrested or even included, to be like, it is his fault to provide drugs for the New York Yankees, provide HGH and steroids. Well, it is like it is. The thing of this system, or this kind of system, is that the New York Post needs to or has to be bought by Japanese news agency. Why the New York Post to be bought by a Japanese news agency? It is to protect the interests of Japanese baseball players playing the major leagues, that the New York Times don't give false testimonies of those players to say that these guys, that the Japanese baseball players are guilty of using steroids. It is this. How I'm gonna take the New York Times newspaper if I say, about what's it called? Hideki Matsui found using steroids. I found that it's the same story as is written in the tabloid news. If it's written in the New York Times and it says if Hideki Matsui uses steroids or HGH, then I take it like it was the news found in the supermarket tabloids. Why? Because it's bullshit. And then same thing with this. Ichiro also plays in the New York Yankees. If the New York Times posts something that says Ichiro is found guilty of using steroids and is found that he ordered steroids from this clinic here, I still say it is the same news as the one told in the supermarket tabloids. It is this. New York Times are given the same information that is given like the National Examiner, the same news that is given in the National Enquirer, because it is bullshit. Because it is bullshit. And that is why the New York Post is supposed to be bought by a Japanese news agency. The only reason that the New York Post has to be bought by a Japanese news agency is that these are ones that defend certain baseball players for wrongfully accused by using steroids from the New York Times. Why? Because it is the first story to put in the New York Post. It will say most of the Asian baseball players that plays in the major league baseball comes from South Korea. Why? Because it's the truth, and it is true. Well, the majority of the baseball players in the major league, Asian baseball players, the majority are found using steroids and HGH. Yes, it is true. Japanese are the only clean ones. Yeah, even Taiwan have players, baseball players that use steroids. The only cleanest baseball players in the Major League Baseball right now are the Japanese ones. Of the Asian guys, the Japanese. Why the Japanese? Because they are more loyal, clean, and they never hurt a fly, and that's why the New York Post has to be posted. And they'll say the New York Times are wrongfully accusing Japanese baseball player for steroid use. It is like a false story written in the New York Times. We're reading this because we are protecting Japanese baseball players for wrongfully accused of steroid use. Boom, that's it. That's the thing written in the Post, and that's why the New York Post will be the most believable and truthful and more respectful newspaper, because when they say that all Koreans baseball players that play in Major League Baseball use steroids, they're telling the truth. And if the New York Times say the Koreans are clean, that the Japanese are the dirty ones, that's bullshit. That's why. It is just for protection. Why is this necessary to protect the Japanese baseball players? Because when they're wrongfully accused for using steroids, written by the New York Times, having Jose Canseco behind the story, working for the New York Times also, they have paid him lots of money to say, oh, that Ichiro used steroids. That what if Daisuke playing the Yankees, that Daisuke used steroids? It's all false. It's bullshit. Because it is bullshit. Because they pay them to attack the Japanese. New York Post, on the other hand, if it's bought by a Japanese news agency, is the defender of the people that are wrongfully accused of steroid use by the New York Times, saying that the Chinese baseball players are the next biggest users of Asian baseball players that use steroids and HGH. Koreans are the #1 users of Asian baseball players playing in the major leagues that use steroids and HGH, sports enhancement drugs. Why? Because they have to tell the truth, and the truth is written. And when the New York Post said that the Japanese are clean, it is true, because they are defending these players that are wrongfully accused of using steroids. Then go back to this. That since I'm talking about Jose Canseco, in the other hand, well, I'm just waiting that this kind of solution, that the best solution for this kind of matter is, if Jose Canseco accused any of the Japanese baseball players using steroids and somebody kills him, the best solution is to end exactly like the 1995 OJ Simpson murder trial. Why to end it like the 1995 OJ Simpson murder trial is the best solution, when the guy that kills Jose Canseco, goes to jail and then he gets out like that, gotta get us out of jail? It is because of the protection of wrongfully accused, like Jose Canseco always does. He has done it with, other baseball players in the past. He have his book juiced, and hopefully that he becomes the manager of the baseball team from the PRC, in other words, China, to have the book juiced second bestseller next to the Bible. Why? Because, let me tell you why it has to be like this. If it's China, and Jose Canseco being killed for bashing a Japanese baseball player, or Japan's baseball team, that all the Japanese baseball players are steroid users or HGH users or sports enhancement drug users, then it ends up like this. The Juiced book will be like a second bestseller of books next to the Holy Bible. That's right. Why? Because when somebody is dead, and then you have China, where you have so many billions of people, it's better yet, somebody that gets killed. Have an OJ Simpson 1995 style trial, like the murder case of 1995. The guy gets away with murder. You know, I agree with that. I always have to support the guy that kills Jose Canseco, because I have 100% support for that kind of crap to happen. You know, and let the book Juiced be the second bestseller next to the Bible. That's right. Then how it is, this is how it goes. How Jose Canseco gets killed. Alright. Let's say Jose Canseco, you know, he starts for the WBC, and this is happening around 2017 or 2016, around his death. When his death comes, with the time that Jose Canseco will die, that means the guy, Jose Canseco, might say, for instance, Jose Canseco might say, oh, that he found Ichiro using steroids. He find out, and he talks about being the manager of the Chinese baseball team, saying that all of Japan's WBC titles were tainted, that they have used steroids, and then he gets killed. What if Ichiro kills Jose Canseco? And then one thing to put a bodyguard. Put a bodyguard that says, oh yeah, I'm just trying to defend Jose Canseco, and then this guy Ichiro has killed him, or an Asian guy has killed him. I mean, and he says, oh, how's the Asian guy? He's Japanese. Well, like that. Boom. Then the trial, what happened with the bodyguard? The bodyguard and the jurors has to be all of, you know, the jury. I don't know what happened if somebody like Lance Ito be the judge of the Jose Canseco murder case. Perfect. And let all the jurors be Japanese, you know. It's just to defend this guy. And they say that in the order court of the state of California, if it's in California, that's where Lance Ito is, or New York, found that Ichiro Suzuki is pled not guilty for first-degree murder on Jose Canseco, being the manager of the baseball team of the People's Republic of China, and then they have pled not guilty. So what will happen is that the man, if it's Ichiro, he is pled not guilty. He killed Jose Canseco, pled not guilty, and he gets away with murder. While the other guy, the bodyguard, goes to jail and is pled guilty. That way, that means that in Japan, and people that protect Japan, like me, myself, and I, has to think, you know, that the bodyguard, the guy that says to be the bodyguard, is the real killer, while Jose Canseco is dead, and the Ichiro is the man who is innocent. That means while everybody in China and all the China protectors and all that stuff, oh, Ichiro's a murderer, and they put Jose Canseco's bodyguard in jail because for a crime he didn't commit. That kind of way to ended up exactly like the 1995 OJ Simpson murder case is like the best solution in the whole wide world. You know, it is the best. It is the best. It is the best to end it that way. Yeah, that is either way. If but yeah, if it's China, then the juiced book will sell a lot more. The biggest bestseller. It will be the #2 book best-selling next to the Bible, because Jose Canseco gets killed by a Japanese guy. Even if it's Ichiro, and I'll root for him, yeah, go win the Yankees, I don't care. And put the bodyguard in jail. He walks away with murder, and that book will be sold a lot in China because you have more people in China. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the best way. That's how his books sell more. But that would be like the best solution to solve that kind of problem, right? It is. Well, if it's South Korea, if Jose Canseco was the manager of the South Korean baseball team, the same situation could end. It has to end the same way as the 1995 OJ Simpson murder trial. The same way as the Casey Anthony case. The woman that killed her child and she walked away with murder. The same way. That means that it will have the same thing. You have the bodyguard and Jose Canseco being the coach or the manager of the South Korean baseball team. And that means for the 2017 World Baseball Classic, you know, let's say for the same thing he wants to mention, you know, even the guy kills Jose Canseco because Jose Canseco opened up the mouth and saying that Hideki Matsui, Ichiro, and all those Japanese baseball players, he found out that these Japanese baseball players use steroids, right? Jose Canseco is going to be dead anyway in that case. And goes like this. All the jurors are Japanese, you know. Even you have Lancito, you know. But what if it's in California? Well, we're technically you will see Lance Ito's face on TV, and all the jurors being Japanese, you know, and then like 99% are Japanese. The 1% is like the defendant, the ones that are favor Jose Canseco. But the 99% of the people that are in the juror of, let's say, if Ichiro did it, all these jurors are Japanese people. Well, 1% is non-Japanese. That means the guy that protect Jose Canseco. And then it will say the same thing if it's in California. Jose Canseco, you know, as the manager of the South Korean baseball team, Lance Ito appears on TV. Ichiro, that if he done it, he'll be in court. If he did kill Jose Canseco someday, that's gonna happen. I wish that it is, because I will support the guy that kills Jose Canseco 100% to let him get away with murder. They'll say, you know, because he played in Japan, Jose Canseco is coaching South Korea, for instance, you know. Settle in like this. It was says, if it's taken in Los Angeles, let's say, and it will say like this. It will say, for the juror department of the state of California, you know, for the murder of Jose Canseco. We find murder of Jose Canseco, manager of the South Korean baseball team. We found the defendant, Ichiro Suzuki, pled not guilty for murder of the first degree. That, of killing Jose Canseco. Murder of the first. Yeah, that's how it goes. That Ichiro pled not guilty for the murder of the first degree of Jose Canseco, manager of South Korean baseball team. Then the bodyguard in the case, it says the name of the bodyguard. Let's say in the order of the state of California, we find the defendant. Let's say Joe Morris, guilty for the murder of Jose Canseco, for the murder of the first degree of Jose Canseco, giving up false witnesses, and then the guy goes to jail. The guy that the bodyguard, if it's if it's Joe whatever, goes to jail. Non-Japanese person, he goes to jail for a crime he didn't commit. And Ichiro Suzuki, if he does kill Jose Canseco, he gets out free. He get away with murder. That way is the best solution. Also, either way, if he's the manager of the Chinese baseball team, of the People's Republic baseball team, or the South Korean baseball team, the guy that kills Jose Canseco, the best solution is to end up just exactly like the 1995 OJ Simpson murder trial, because it's the best solution to end it that way. So let the guy that kills Jose Canseco get away with murder. And the same thing, the guy that killed Jose Canseco is a hero in Japan. He's like, raised that he's like an innocent man, while the guy who is the bodyguard, if it's Joe Miller, then he is like, oh, Joe Miller's a killer. He's the guy that kills Jose Canseco. Even though the guy, if it's Joe Miller, even then didn't commit the crime. I just put some random name called Joe Miller. He didn't commit the crime and he went to jail. And then, the guy that killed Jose Canseco, well, in China, they says, oh, this guy, Ichiro, is a killer and Joe Miller's innocent. He never hurt a fly, even if it's in the Korean public. So the book will be the bestseller in Korea, Juiced. Will be #1 in Korea if Jose Canseco becomes the manager of the South Korean baseball team. So, and then that's how it is. New York Post has to be bought by a Japanese news agency, defending the Japanese baseball players for wrongfully accused of using steroids. From the New York Times has wrongfully accused them, saying that all the Korean baseball players and the Chinese baseball players and other Asians that are non-Japanese are the biggest users of steroids and sports enhancement drugs, while the Japanese are clean. That means that's defending them. That's just being the defendant of those wrongfully accused baseball players. And at the end, if either Jose Canseco manages the Chinese baseball team from the People's Republic, or the South Korean baseball team, if the man who kills him, is pled not guilty, and the bodyguard goes to jail for a crime they didn't commit, it is the same way to end it up. Even if it's Ichiro, hail him for, play for the Yankees, and even if he kills Jose Canseco, let him walk away with murder and win a WBC 2017 championship for Japan and stuff. That's it, Ended up exactly like the 1995 OJ Simpson murder case. The best solution to end that case. Ended exactly like the Casey Anthony case, or the woman who killed her child. That way, is the best solution if Jose Canseco is dead and protects China or Korea and bashes Japan out. Why? Because it is the best solution. If Jose Canseco gets murdered, it is the best solution to end exactly like the 1995 OJ Simpson Murder Case. You know, like, you all know that OJ Simpson killed Nicole Brown and killed Ronald Goldman and walked away with murder. Let Jose Canseco's case, even if it's Ichiro who killed Jose Canseco, you know, let him, pled not guilty. He killed Jose Canseco and walk away with murder like nothing has happened. You know, that's the best way. So peace out, everybody, and I hope you write comments. And if I agree with it, you know what? I will, if it's for Japan and it's for Jose Canseco's death and the guy that kills him, I will always defend the guy that murders Jose Canseco 100% of the time, even if Jose Canseco manages South Korea or China. I will always have 100% support of the guy who killed or who will kill Jose Canseco to get away with murder. Even if he plays for the New York Yankees, even if he plays for the Japanese national baseball team. Goodbye and peace out.